Back in 2 Thessalonians chapter 2 and verse 9.
Listen.
Even him whose coming is after the working of Satan.
Yes.
With all power and signs and lying wonders.
Yes.
And with all deceivableness.
With all deceivableness.
Of unrighteousness.
With that which is not right.
In them that perish.
In them that's perish. In them that's lost.
Because they receive not.
Because they receive not.
The love of the truth.
Have you ever loved something? I mean love it. You know, most people love to eat.
That's right.
Sure, they love to eat. Some things they know they ain't got no business eating because it don't agree with them. But it tastes so good and looks so good, they grab that thing and just look at it and smile at it and say, Lord have mercy. And they down it anyway. And they know the after effects with some. Some gonna see spots, some gonna get lightheaded, but they love that thing so much, they are lightheaded while they eating it, just spinning and still eating it.
That's right.
Because in their mind it tastes so good, it's worth the trip.
That's right.
It's worth the journey.
That's right.
The book says,
because and with all deceivableness of unrighteousness,
in them that perish,
and them that are lost, because they receive not the love of the truth,
they receive not the love of the truth,
that they might be saved.
Wait a minute. You love the truth, so what will happen to you?
That they might be saved.
You love the truth, so what can happen to you?
That they might be saved.
All right.
And for this cause,
for this reason,
God shall send them strong delusion.
Now, you that don't love the truth, you that constantly fight the truth, year in, year out, year in, year out, don't love it, speak against it, blaspheme against it, speak ill of it. God come along and say, all right, I done had enough of you.
And for this cause,
this is what I'm going to do to you. Now, this is one thing that God is not going to allow the devil to do.
That's right.
Hear this now. I want you to understand it.
That's right.
This is one thing that God is not going to give the devil permission to do.
That's right.
This is the time that God himself is going to step up and do this thing to you himself.
And for this cause,
God
shall send them strong delusion.
God shall do what?
Shall send them strong delusion.
Shall send them a strong delusion.
That they should believe a lie.
So you can believe the lie that you shout about, go to church over, sing over, preach about.
That they all might be damned.
Wait a minute. He gonna give you a strong delusion so you can believe your lie. So what can happen to you?
That they all might be damned.
So you can go to hell.
Who believe not the truth.
Who won't accept the truth.
But had pleasure
because you're too busy having fun.
In unrighteousness.
And what's not right.
That's right.
That's something, isn't it?
That's right.
Viewers, that's the penalty.
That's right.
That God is bringing.
That's right.
Have brought,
that's right.
Bringing right now, and will bring in the future.
They refuse to repent, they refuse to believe, they refuse to follow. This is the condition of unbelief. It loves sin, loves not Christ. If any man love not the Lord Jesus Christ, let him be damned. 1 Corinthians 16:22. They choose not to believe. So they come under the full influence of Antichrist. And they are not saved. The results of this willful unbelief, look at verse 11. The results of this willful unbelief, for this reason, because they do not love the truth so as to be saved, for this reason God will send upon them a deluding influence so that they will believe what is false. Because of willful unbelief and rejection of the gospel, refusal to love and obey the truth that saves, there is a severe divine recompense. The people alive at that time who will not believe, who will not love the truth, God will send upon them, this is amazing, a deluding influence so that they will believe what is false. That's a divine judgment. What a thought. The sovereign power of God acting to seal their eternal fate. This is like Pharaoh, right? Exodus 8 and 9, Pharaoh hardened his heart, God hardened his heart. Pharaoh hardened his heart, God hardened his heart. You harden your heart, that's your choice. God will harden your heart, sealing your eternal damnation. Proverbs 5:22 says, his own iniquities will capture the wicked, and he will be held with the cords of his own sin. Judgment falls on that hardness, and God sends a deluding influence, a force of deception, a force of delusion, so that they believe the lie of Satan about Antichrist. So judgment comes in the form of an inability to see the truth, an inability to love the truth, an inability to be saved. And they are judicially sentenced by God to accept only Satan's lies. They will deliberately choose falsehood, and the time will come when they cannot choose anything but falsehood. Thus does God use Satan and the Antichrist as instruments to punish the perishing who have refused to love the truth. 1 Kings 22 talks about the Lord putting a deceiving spirit in the mouth of false prophets. 1 Chronicles 21 talks about Satan being used by God to move David to number Israel. God does not delude them into unbelief, but punishes them for willful unbelief by sealing their eternal destiny. Refusing the truth, they are turned over to damning lies. The sinner refuses light, chooses darkness. Darkness he shall have. He hardens his heart, hardened it shall be. He refuses to love the truth, he will receive a lying spirit, and he will love lies. Spurns eternal life, he will have eternal death. In all ages, those who persist in sin will find eventually they won't be able to escape that choice. So perishing people reject the saving gospel, refuse to love Christ, rather love sin, will not believe the truth, but believe lies, will not follow God, but follow Satan. Eventually, unless they repent, they will not have a choice.
LGBTQ plus couples should be allowed to get married in the church.
Personally, I think they should be able to, because they can have a marriage that glorifies God, just like any straight couples can.
Well, I do believe that homosexuality is a sin. I can't tell you what you can or can't do with your life. And I do think that you should have the same rights that I have. In the same way that I have the right to believe differently, I have to also extend that right to you.
Well, I'm married to a wonderful man, and so of course I would have to agree with that LGBT people should be allowed to get married in the church.
When I was deep in evangelicalism, the narrative was being gay is a sin. And then I saw the church sort of like soften up or change the narrative to, okay, being gay isn't a sin, God made you gay, but you can never act on homosexuality. That's the sin, the act. But again, I don't see the harm. I see beautiful couples like this gentleman here. So when we look at suicidal ideation, we look at trans women being murdered because of the bigotry in this nation, a lot propagated by Christians, evangelicals, conservatives. The fruit of that doctrine we've been planting for not only decades, but centuries.
What can I do for you?
Can I ask one question?
Sure.
What are you hoping that will happen with Christianity in the government? Do you want Christianity back in the government? Is that your hope and dream?
My hope is that everyone would be saved.
Now, that's not the question I asked.
That's my hope. The government.
Do you think that we need laws inspired by the Bible?
I think we do.
Yeah, and
that's
so,
the best laws.
Right. So you want to force people under religious tyranny?
I think we're being.
Have you ever seen The Handmaid's Tale?
Is that a question or not?
That's a question.
Okay, can I answer?
Please.
I think we're being forced to practice whatever law is in power. Right? We have to follow the law.
So,
are you a law keeper or a law breaker?
Well, I'm hoping I'm a law keeper.
Okay, so you're forced to keep the law.
I'm not forced to keep the law because I believe that the laws that are in place right now are there to protect the rights of individuals.
Okay, so if you break the law, you're going to go to jail or get a ticket or be fined or something along that line, right?
Well, can I ask you a similar question?
I asked your question first, just answer.
Yeah, if I break the law, that's exactly what should happen.
So we're all forced to keep the law.
We're not forced to keep the law.
Okay, so it's the same thing with whether there was God's law there. You can do whatever you want to do, but when you break the law, there's consequences, just like there's consequences here. So what's the problem?
The problem is you are trying to preach a message which has no evidence or no truth in it, and you're hoping that you're going to encourage people to become more religious again. This nation was never Christian to begin with. This nation belonged to the First Nation people before Christian colonialists came here and pillaged and raped and murdered the original inhabitants, okay? So let's get something straight here with history.
Okay. Which tribe ruled at which time?
That doesn't matter.
It does, because...
No, it doesn't.
Okay, wait. I'll tell you why, because I'm listening to you. The tribes that were in this nation before had tribal wars, conquered other tribes, and placed their laws over the other tribes. So there was never a time in Canadian, American, Central American, or South American history where there was ever a tribe that never conquered another tribe and established their laws over the others. Never. Colonialism, slavery was in every nation of the world, including within indigenous Canada, Central America, and South America. So this idea that someone came and conquered someone else, that conquering happened amongst the tribes.
So we're gonna ignore.
Wait. Let's not talk over. I'll listen to you. You listen to me. Am I talking fact or am I talking lies?
You're talking lies.
So you're trying to tell me that slavery and colonization from other tribes did not happen in Canada, Central America, and South America before amongst the indigenous communities? Are you telling me that?
What I'm going to tell you is...
Are you telling me that, yes or no?
Do you want me to... No, I'm not going to give a yes or no answer. Because that's irrelevant to the point here.
It's irrelevant, right?
It is.
So he's mad at the white man for colonizing North America, but he's not mad at the indigenous community for colonizing other indigenous communities. That's hypocrisy, my friend.
No, it's not.
It's not. So it's okay for the natives to colonize other natives, but it's not okay for the whites to colonize the natives.
Wow.
Is that what you're telling me?
Wow. So let's.
Is that what you're telling me? No. Is that no? Just I want to be clear.
Let's justify the evil of Christianity.
No.
So that you can make an excuse for what they did.
You want the evil of this government over the evil of another government. You see what happens when somebody can't answer the question, they just start talking over you. If you want to have listen, I will let you talk. Let me talk. When I answer, I will talk. When you want to answer, I will listen.
No, because you want me to answer according to the way you want me.
No. Answer however you want to answer.
Because you cut me off.
Okay, fine. Forgive me for cutting you off. I won't cut you off again. Say what you got to say, but when it's my time to respond, let me say what I got to say. And I'll answer the way I answer, you answer the way you answer.
Thank you. Deal.
Say whatever you got to say.
All right. It has nothing to do with the point. You're talking about this so-called love and the peace of God according to the New Testament. People with the same New Testament that you walk around with today came to this land and they enslaved the First Nation people. They stole the children out of the mother's hands. Okay, you're putting that a little bit too close to my face. They stole the children out of the mother's hands and they put them in residential schools. Did they do things within their own tribe? No doubt. Is that point to the relevancy of what I'm talking about right now? No, it's not. What they do among their own people is an issue among their own people. But what Christianity has done, which is the focal point of our conversation here, is what the reason you're going around preaching your message. A lot of people are like yourself, are just like those who used to scam people out before the internet was around. Go knocking on the door. I'm the CRA, the Canada Revenue Agency. You didn't pay your bill. You owe me $10,000. These people, not having access to information right away, of course they're going to run to their checkbooks and write them in the trust that the people that are telling them the information is accurate and trustful and true. This is what you're doing with your gospel message. You have no evidence for a God. Christianity has done nothing for this world outside of put it into slavery, which is what we're still dealing with today, a system of corruption. Okay, and it can be seen across Canada, down in the United States especially, but then people, when they point that out, are told, oh, that's not Christianity, because Christianity is about the love of God, despite the fact that you are preaching all across Canada that if you're a homosexual, unless you can miraculously change, which no one has been able to do, if somebody who claims to be gay and yet claims that they can change their orientation has forgotten the letter B, which is bisexual, and their acronym. There is no actual case of an individual being able to change their orientation. And that's not the only hateful, lying message that your group and others like you, we have our issues here in Calgary, like Mr. Artur Pawlowski.
I don't know what your topic is right now.
Well, that's pretty
you're
sad.
going all over the place.
I'm actually giving an umbrella.
I'm still listening.
So if I have to bring this back home, because clearly you've been lost somehow in this message of relevancy here. Christianity is not a religion of peace, love, and hope and kindness. Your goal, as you just said, is to have the government inspire laws based on the Bible, which would take away the human rights of individuals. How far back do we want to go in order to institute laws that your faith wants to have instated? Because 100 years ago, in 1920, women were not considered human, that men were the man of the house, and women had no legal rights. But if you were over in our city square, right beside City Hall, you see a statue, a monument that women were given that status. Christianity, we're not the people to get behind and give women their right to vote and any other right that they have today. They are maybe a little bit more modern than the Islamic religion, but they are not far off. And the only reason why Christians are not empowered today is because, yeah, we are moving away from a Christian ideology in our government. Was this ever a Christian nation? No, it belonged to the original inhabitants. And every time Christianity or another religion moves on to a continent, it's like a plague. Its idea is to soak itself, because prayer doesn't change anything. If it did, they wouldn't need to elect religious leaders into government. If it was powerful enough, they could pray and people would, in their own heart, change according to their ways of the Bible. But it's never happened. So they need people in the government to change the laws according to their Bible. There's a lot I impacted there. I'm not sure if you're able to keep up with me.
I actually am. It's not much. It's actually very simpleton-minded.
I'm sure.
But listen to me. Now, if I throw it back at you with your hateful rhetoric towards Christianity,
Right.
It's straight up Christophobia, Biblephobia, and Godophobia that you're throwing out. Now I'm just using your own terms. Now if I said the same thing to you, and if I said to you LGBT is spreading like a plague everywhere it goes, it's like a plague. Now would that be considered hate speech to you? Now for you it might, but you're saying the same thing towards my religion. So here's what I'm going to say. Christianity has done more good for this world than your community. In fact, your community, the moment that your community got into some kind of power, you want to push our community out. You're telling us, I listen to you. Now you say you're pushing hate. I'm saying you're hating God. You're hating God's laws and you're hating us. And so you can reverse the whole narrative and say that, you know what, we are hating on you. But God is above you. You're hating on God. God is the one who set the premise and made the creation that you see today, the mountains that you see in this very province. It is God that created you as a male, and he created women as females, and he said, be fruitful and multiply, and that's why you exist today. So if you say that the laws of God are hateful, I'm sorry to say to you, it's hateful against sin, it's hateful against the devil, and it's hateful against death. It's the laws of God that preserved your life. It's the laws of God that governed Canada, and that says within the very Constitution and Charter, we believe in the sovereignty of God. This country, I don't know what country you're going back to with the natives, but this country that we live in with Canada has the Constitution and the Charter that we believe in the sovereignty of God. And our national anthem says, God, keep our land. And if you look at the Parliament Hill, it's a bunch of biblical scriptures all over the building. So whatever land or country you want to espouse to, if you go back, We know that I listen to you. The natives were sacrificing their own babies. Maybe you believe in abortion today. You should probably do. You're shaking. You do. So you believe that it's okay for the indigenous to start sacrificing their babies to worship their God. You somehow think that's a better law, where they would take innocent virgin women and put them on the altar just so that they could be excused from their sins. And you think that's a better law. It was tribal warfare all over the place. And it was not a civilized way like we are living today. It was a lot better. It's a lot better today than it was before. And colonization happened amongst Africans. Africans colonized other Africans. Africans sold Africans to the white man, which is why we had the African slave trade. The African slave trade had a lot to do with Africans. And in fact, it had a lot to do with Muslims, because Muslim Arabs sold other Africans to other Africans, and it was going on all around the world. So this idea that Christianity is the problem, I beg to differ, because Christianity is the same institution that set up the educational systems like Princeton and Harvard. It's the same institutions that set up the hospitals that you see now, and you have free health care. These are because of Christians. It's because of Christians that we have understandings of the legal system that provides grace and mercy and forgiveness and redemption. These are concepts that you find in the Bible through the New Testament. Now, if you want to go on to what they did to the natives, listen, people did a lot of wicked things to the natives. People did a lot of things to the natives. Jesus never said to go and rape a child. Nowhere in the Bible does it say go and rape a child. Now, if you're going to blame Jesus Christ and Christianity,
the Old Testament.
If you're going to blame Christianity for some man coming in the name of God raping a child, you're sadly misinformed. Christianity never said...
Read the Old Testament, everybody.
Okay, I could do the same thing, but I listen to you. I have a little more respect. Christianity gave that to me. Your philosophy has no respect, but mine does. I can listen to you and talk with you civilly, but I'm here to tell you today that Christianity never said that woman was subhuman. In fact, the Bible says from the first page, Genesis chapter 1, God created man in his image. In the image of God created he them. Male and female he created he them. So male and female was created in the image of God, and that means males and females deserve dignity. So this idea that women are not human beings has nothing to do with the Bible, because the Bible says in 1 Peter chapter 3 that men should listen and honor their wives, because they are heirs of the same promise, heirs of salvation with you. So this idea that people espouse is not biblical. Now you can shake your head, but you're talking to someone that follows the Bible. If you have a verse in the Bible that says that women are subhuman, then maybe I'll listen. So I'm going to give you that opportunity to produce one verse that says women are subhuman.
2 Timothy says, I shall not permit a woman to teach over man, because a woman should learn in silence. It also says in the New Testament that wives obey your husbands.
No, that's not 2 Timothy, that's 1 Timothy chapter 2. You got the chapter wrong. And the Bible doesn't say anywhere that women are subhuman. Yes, it says that women should submit to their husbands. So I'm going to ask you something, because I listen to you. I listen to you. Do you submit to your manager?
That has nothing to do.
I'm asking you a question. Do you submit to your manager?
I'm an employee, so of course.
Is he subhuman? Maybe you're subhuman because you submit to your manager.